Welcome back. The more and more, deeper and deeper, as we get along to in this world of samsara and in this spiritual world and in the world of yogi and the Vedanta. And there is always a question. In the Vedanta, we are saying that I am the Brahman. In that case, the question always comes, then why are we suffering? Yogi tells you that if you go into the samadhi state, yogi shuts off the world for you and makes you attain the nirvana. The Advaita makes you attain nirvana while being in the samsara and realizing that this is samsara. I am a part and parcel with the duty that I'm supposed to perform. I'm not separate, and yet I'm not with it. I'm detached. Like the lotus in the pond, like the butter which is made out of milk, the milk which could mix with the water. But when you make the churn the milk into curd and curd into butter, it floats in the same water. Just like that, Advaita takes you. So today we are going to talk about something, a beautiful statement from the Mandukya Karika of the statement of a state of no mind. Let's start with the chanting. Om Asato ma satkamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Oh Mother, hold our hand. Krishna Yogakshema Vaham Vaham. Brahma Vishnu Maheshwara. Krishna Vaham Vaham means would only not just support us or protect us, but grant us every wish that you get as you surrender to Krishna, God, the Divine Mother. And not only just guard you, will carry it Vaham Vaham on his own head and bring it and grant it to you. There is a beautiful story of Jagannath Mishra in Puri, in which, as he was reading this part, he said, how can it be that the God himself, why should I trouble God to bring the thing on his head and give it to me? God will grant it to me. And it just so happened they're from a very poor Pandit family, and they didn't have much to eat that particular day as he was leaving for work and study and teaching. And the wife was saying, we have nothing to eat. And Jagannath Mishra said, God will provide. And he goes off. Little later, wife is surprised by a young, very pretty looking boy comes with carrying a lot of fruits and vegetables and groceries all in his head and gives it to the wife. And wife says, who sent it? And the boy says, your husband has sent it. And the wife, as she's gratefully, smilingly accepting it, finds a deep cut in his cheek, and it's slightly bleeding, deep cut. And she's acclaimed, and she says, who has done this to you? And the boy puts his head down and says, your husband. Wife is shocked, and when husband comes back, he asks the husband, what has gone wrong with you? This young, handsome boy brings all this, and you had cut his cheek to make him do it? He says, what cut his cheek? Then Jagannath Mishra recollects that he had cut that line in the Bhagavad Gita and he had corrected it to say, Vadam Vadam, he will be giving it, God will grant it, and not carry it on his head. That cut is that cut of the pen that he did in the Bhagavad Gita. And he bows down and he said, Lord, and he went and corrects it back again. God will grant us. And similarly is with the blessings of our Divine Mother Krishna, Vaham Vaham, shall grant you all your wishes. All we need to do is to keep God always in our mind and the Divine Mother and be aware of ourself, our infinite nature, in which I would like you to see, we said, Asato ma Satgamaya. Remembering our gurus, Paramahansa Yogananda Yukteswar Giri Lahiri Mahasaya, Swami Vivekananda, Holy Mother Sharada, Paramahansa Ramakrishna. We go ahead, ask them to explain through these words. I am just an Amazon.com delivery boy. See, we today in the world is in a deep rat race. We are all in a rat race. And we are all in a race to win the race. But we are forgetting that when you're in a rat race, and even if you win, you are still a rat. You remain a rat. And rat is what? This physical possessions, nama rupa bhavahara, name, body, and form. Man, woman, status, position. And in this rat race called the samsara, body is growing, aging, falling sick, suffering, and also sometimes good health and ananda and joy and enjoying, but everything is sublime and goes away. So today we are going to talk about is duality and non-duality. And this is from Mandaka Karika, 3rd chapter, which is explained by Gaudapada, Guru's Guru of Shankaracharya. Non-duality is, as per Gaudapada, is not suffering. And duality is suffering. You will say, why? Duality is this samsara. The moment I say I am this name, Robbin Ghosh, and the form, I'm a man, and I'm separate from you. You, whether you're a man or a woman or whatever it is, or the objects or the inanimate or a lively things like plants, and I'm separate. And this samsara is suffering with duality. So why is Gaudapada saying it? And this is Gaudapada's words in 3rd Sutra, 31st verse and 3rd chapter. We shall talk about it in details in Sunday, but I'll give you a pretty good punchline for you to think about it. And he says, when we understand and visualize, the famous example of the snake in the alley, darkened alley, and you say, snake, 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 and your friend says, no, it's not a snake, and switches on the light in his mobile and says, look, it's only a rope. So what happens now? You realize that the snake is not a snake, but it had emerged from ignorance of darkness. So we say, take as God, Krishna, Divine Mother, Gurudev, from unreal to real. Unreal is the duality. To reality is the non-duality. Snake merges back into the rope. The snake does not exist anymore. When the snake merges back, there is no snake. The mind which experienced the samsara merges back into the self, into the soul. I realize I am not this name, body, and the form. Chidananda Rupoham, Shivoham, Shivoham. Name, body, form is continue to exist. And those of you don't understand it, and you will say, okay, enough of Vedanta, because we don't understand. So let us take you across to make you understand, who am I really? Am I really in this world, in this waking world right now? I'm sitting and talking, you're sitting and listening or reading or thinking about it, eating, dreaming, sleeping, making money, and formulate into this world. And there is joy and happiness and good health and gym and gluten-free diet and dieting and taking care of our body. And also there is sickness and disease and growing old and aging and then dying. I feel I'm so finite, I'm so small into this infinite world of time, space, and causation. Am I that person? Or am I the person in my dream world which I experience, whether chased by a lion or dancing in Florida or dancing in having a beautiful holiday in mountain Himalaya amongst with the monks and the rishis, or in a beautiful snow-clad mountain in Switzerland? Am I that dream person? Or am I that person which goes on to sleep? There is duality existing in this waking world, and everything is separate from me. There is duality existing in the dream world. My body and the mind is lying on the bed. And in that dream world, whoever I'm experiencing is separate from me. In the deep sleep state, no dreams, deep sleep. No dream, no mind. So no mind. So that's how we, after a deep sleep, we feel so fresh. In that, I'm not experiencing. In the waking world, I'm experiencing the waking world. In the dream world, I'm experiencing the dream world. In the deep sleep world, I'm not experiencing anything. But that duality, I'm not experiencing it. I'm not experiencing it, but the duality exists. And Mandakya goes ahead and tells us Jagrat, Swapna, Susupti, waking, dreaming, deep sleep. There is the fourth, called the fourth is the Turiya. Turiya, refresh your mind, is the same as fourth. Turiya means four. And that is the seed form which actually is making us experience the deep sleep world, the dream world, and the waking world. The truth is only that Advaita, Turiya, one alone exists. And that one alone comes in as per Gaudapada when we attain the no mind state. No mind state is non-dual. That means, as per Gaudapada, whenever we have a mind, we have samsara, we have duality. And just now we experience how is it duality in the samsara? Because we consider all the time that we are separate. In the second chapter of the same Mandakya Upanishad, we are going ahead and understanding Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. One alone exists and this world is not real. And goes ahead and explains. In the third chapter, Samsara, as per Gaudapada, is the problem. And that problem is because of the mind. So Gaudapada is taking us across. All right, so what is the answer? Go into Dvaita is samsara, Advaita is moksha. Moksha is non-dual. From there, if you look carefully, the duality and the samsara exist in the deep sleep state also. But in the Turiya state, there is only one alone. And in order to attain moksha, many people go ahead and take drugs and drinks and try to stay into that deep sleep state. But that seems to be not the answer. Though in deep sleep we enjoy, we refresh. And many people think that that could be a good excuse, and they keep taking sleeping drugs and drinks and alcohol and, escapism. And they're not facing the world. So Shankaracharya is saying, Shankaracharya's Gurus explaining this Karika, 3rd chapter, verse 31. 3rd chapter, verse 31. I will explain and read out that to you. In brief, Shankaracharya is saying, just like from sickness of our body and the mind, when we become not sick, which is our natural state. Our natural state is not being sick, being joyful and happy. From there, if there is a sickness, we get out of the sickness and become our natural state. Is like that. Is the Mandaka Karika, the 31st Sutra, is going ahead and explaining. What is that? When the rope appears as a snake, is duality. When the snake merges back into the rope, when the pot is the pot, but we know it is the clay pot, and when we realize the clay pot is only a shape, the reality is only the clay. And where is the clay? Everywhere. And if I have not baked the clay pot, I can merge it back into a tray or a platter or make it anything. A gold, maybe in the necklace, in the bangle, in the ring, or in the pajab, or in the tiara. Different shape, different quantum of gold in different. We try to see now how much gold is there. But it is not the quantity, that is the nama rupa pavahara. We have to get away from it and say it is gold. It is the water alone, not how big is the wave, tsunami or a small bubble. It is the water alone which is the truth. So it is that non-duality alone, and in which Mandakya Upanishad in the 3rd chapter, in Shankaracharya in the 31st verse, I will read out the verse. Beautiful verse, very nice, and it's so beautiful to understand it. I'm like you, I did not understand Sanskrit. I had studied in the school, but naturally non-utilization and forgotten about it. I'm relearning now, and it's such a fun journey. Pick it up if you also like it. Let's read it. Manodrishyam idam dvaitam yat kinchit sacharacharam manaso hi amani bhavi dvaitam naiva upalabdhate. What does it mean? It's going ahead to say duality experiencing the mind. In the mind, the duality is no longer cognized. Manaso abani bhavi. When the mind goes ahead, dvaitam naiva upalabdhate. Duality vanishes when the mind realizes the no mind state. How do we do that? We will come to it. Ancient yogis, what do they say? I'm watching a TV and scary. Just now I don't like to be afraid. So what does the yogi say? Don't look. Close your eyes. Switch off the TV. Pull out the plug. So what is yogi saying? Shut the samsara out of you. What is Advaita Vedanta? What is the Gaudapada does not agree with this. Gaudapada says, watch and know. Watch the movie. Khule nayan pe Ishwar ko dekho. Not just close your eyes and see God. What kind of a God is it that when you close your eyes, then only you see God, and open your eyes, God is not there? Paramahansa Ramakrishna say, Kirakom Bhagavan, chok banda korlei tini achen, chok khullei tini nei. The moment you close your eyes, the God is not there, God is there, and when you open your eyes, God is not there. What kind of a God is this? Kabir is saying, Khule nayan pe dekho. So see God everywhere. See God in your husband, in your wife, in your children, in your people, in the parent, and realize we all are one. This is oneness, not separation, separatedness. Everybody around us. And the moment we start to see that oneness, the duality vanishes and we become non-dual.
It's 9 o'clock.
In the meditative state, the yogi says, which are the ways? Ayama, niyama. You remember? Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Dhyana, samadhi. Yes, you attain oneness with God. But in this, you are shutting down. So what does it do? Samsara is separated from you. Advaita Vedanta said, no, it's just a movie. Just watch. And now, however terrible the movie is, you will give Oscar award. The more horrifying movie, more Oscar award. Isn't it? You're enjoying the movie, enjoying the samsara with a no mind state. You know now, I am water. I am that Atman, soul. I'm not this body and the mind. Body may have pain. And beautiful, the moment you start to think of it, start to realize it through your meditative breathing and all the time thinking, I is that supreme Atman consciousness, Chaitana, have a name and a body and a form. I'm playing the role, better wife, better husband, than I was playing before when I was a name, body and a form. And yet, the pain somehow ceases, becomes less and less. And the beauty is when you become like Babaji. You can control your body and the mind and the name. You and I, we're all in that journey. Let's experience it. And without the mind, no experience. Notice this one thing. Whatever you're experiencing, if you're conscious, then only you're experiencing. And consciousness, reflective consciousness, lighting up the mind. Remember, reflective consciousness, consciousness like the sun, and mind is like the moon, receiving the light to get the life to experience the world. In other words, the mind has to be there. If I have no mind, the world vanishes. Samsara vanishes. This is what the powerful poem today. You say we experiencing the world with the mind, yes, but we experiencing outside the mind also. Look at the world around. Not really. Look at the world. Let's say I experience this clock, or that glass, or that flower. What is experiencing? The clock is not entering my eye. I'll grow blind then, blind. The flower is not entering my eye. Can't think of it. Mountain is not entering my eye. The light is reflecting, entering through the optic nerve, through the cornea, going into through the electrical impulses to the synapses and the brain neuron, and that in turn tiny sparks of electricity sending it to the brain. And now from brain to the mind, how nobody is understanding it, excepting Vedanta is explained. In the Western world, they can not still explain how the mind is receiving an image. That tiny spark is reconstituting itself as a flower, as a clock, as a mountain. How? This is what the Vedanta explains, but the Western world can't explain. So what are you experiencing the outside world? By the mind. Mind has to be there. And if the mind could be turned into no mind state, either through yoga or through Vedanta, you attain that no mind state is the Samadhi beautiful state. So what's the difference? In the Vedanta, you're going ahead and understanding that, look, merge yourself. No merge meaning spiritualize your mind. How do we do that? This is the question was asked by Master M to Paramahamsa Ramakrishna. Second visit. First visit he did not ask anything. He couldn't ask any question. Second visit was personal. And Master M asked. And Ramakrishna answered, Ishware mon kamon kore hoy. How do I fix my mind into God? See, if he had said, how do I realize God? Ramakrishna would have said, think of God all the time and pray to God and do sadhana. He didn't ask that. Master M asked a beautiful question. And there are some universities in the world, they don't give questions for the student to answer question. They ask them to formulate a question. And by the strength of the question, children are assessed how good they are, how well have they understood. So Master M asked a question, Ishware mon kamon kore hoy. How do I fix my mind onto God? And Paramahansa Ramakrishna answered three simple sentences. Bhagavaner naam korbe, gunogan korbe. Always think and always love God. Talk about God. Second, he says, dhyan korbe, mone bone kone. Always meditate in the corner of your house, corner of the forest, or corner of any place. Select a place in your house, stay there. Sometimes you may go down to the forest, but you'll be surprised. The forests, the tanmatra of the forest may not be as good unless you purify that by being there, living there, and become comfortable. I tried it. The slightest and darkest of the night, slightest of the creaking of the thing, you're thinking, which animal is coming? Who's looking at me? Mind goes off. It takes time for us to understand. And the third answer. So what did he say? First, Bhakti Yoga. Think of God, sing for God, talk about God. Second, he says, meditate. That's Raja Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga. And third, Gaurapada will perk up his ears. Ramakrishna says, always discriminate to what is real and what is not real. And that's what you and I pray every time. Asato ma satgamaya. In which Ramakrishna says, discriminate the reality of the world and build up vairag for what is not permanent. And permanent, hold on to it. This is how Viveka and name of Vivekananda came. And Vivekananda does this like a child's play. And you and I find it so difficult. And here I would like you to take you across to how do we do that? I'll just keep it at this and we'll discuss. Okay, more on this Sunday. Think about some questions, write it. I already have some questions, we shall discuss them. Gaudapada goes ahead and says, all right, okay, how do I do it? How do I reach this no mind state? Ramakrishna Paramahansa said something, Gaudapada say. He's saying, I'll read it out. Atma satyanubodhena na sankalpa yate yada amanustatam tada yati grahya bhave tadam graham. Amanustate tada yati. The moment you realize the Atma Satyanubodhena, they realize the true nature of your own self. That I am not the mind and the body and the function and the name. Atma Satyanubodhena. Na sankalpa yate yada. Raga dhyasa. Raga dvesha is desires and hatred and anger and jealousy, discrimination, I don't like you, I like you, goes away. And sankalpa yate yada. Remember the princess of Kashi story. What happened to the prince? The moment he saw and he realized that painting is he himself, what happened? Atma Satyanubodhena. He realized suddenly, I am only the painting. It is not a princess who said, if I don't marry her, my life will be lost. All his sankalpa, all his desire just vanished. He immediately smiled. Oh, this is me only. This is what you have to do to attain the no mind state. Then, grahyam bhava, you will attain that. And tadam graham, you will see automatically all the desires will, once you accept yourself as Brahman, no more desires, no more reaching out. That is grahyam bhavi, trying to grab thing and get it for me, myself, selfishness. You become selfless. Tadam graham, that is no mind. To grasp for the mind, mind becomes mind. When you realize, I am that, Atma Satyanubodhena, then nasankalpa yate yada. Amanustatam tada yati grahyam bhavi tadam graham. Reflect on it. Namaskar, you have a beautiful week ahead, and we shall meet again on Sunday. Till then, may the Divine Mother, Krishna, grant you, fulfill you, protect you. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, Babaji, Kalpa Yogi, Mahavatar Babaji, the Deathless Master, grant you all your wishes, protect you. Holy Mother Saraswati, Swami Vivekananda, Holy Mother Sharada, Paramahansa Ramakrishna, Paramahansa Yogananda, Yukteswar Giri Lari Masai, be with us, guide us, hold our hand. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Enjoy reading, grasping, understanding. Go through these lines again and again. I've enjoyed sharing with you. Enjoy it the same way and much, much more. You are the one. Jai Guru.